Today we're going to cover an element that most people don't like to talk about, but we're going to get into there. And I'm going to talk about 3 different levels of legal aspects in your business and what you should do, what you should have, what you shouldn't do. And right from the core of it, if you haven't started an entity yet or a real business, making it official, then you need to do that. That's like step number 1. Now, I'm going to take you through 3 different websites that I recommend, service providers that I've personally used, that I even recommend to my clients. But then you should also get some legal advice. And I'm going to break these down for you pretty quickly. I'm not going to go too in depth because with legal advice, you should be hiring someone that knows that really well. But I'm going to give you the differences on what to use and what I've used and what I've loved over the years that I recommend it to not only my mastermind clients, but also my one-on-one clients. All right. So first of all, we have here on the screen, Rocket Lawyer. Rocket Lawyer is a great, affordable way to get simple documents in your business easily, quickly, effectively. Currently, right now, they're running this new campaign. It's 1 membership for everything legal, $20 a month. All right. So you get 7-day free trial and you get $20 a month, which let me tell you is, let's go into it. And I'll go over the features and the benefits, but I really want to talk about how it can really help you. So number 1, unlimited documents for personal and business use. I think the membership alone, and I've been a member of Rocket Lawyer probably over 10 years. I think this alone is worth the money itself. Okay. If you're using the Rocket Legal Plus, it's worth the money itself. The free option where it doesn't cost anything is where it's a little bit different because you sometimes have to pay per document that you get, which ends up being more expensive depending on how much time, how often you use it. So that's not really cool. But now you can have unlimited documents, and the documents I'll dive into a little deeper. This can happen to a lot of people. They go out and they buy a course and they say, oh, we have all the legal documents and all that stuff. But the reality is it's not state specific. You still have to take it to a lawyer. The good thing with Rocket Lawyer is it's state specific. So they have all that listed, which is fantastic. Next feature they have is sign your documents. It's like Rocket Sign. Okay. This is a really, of course, you can use other built-in softwares. Some people have softwares for this. This has really been more integrated over the years. Signature software, or like DocuSign. If you want to use like something like and pay an extra service like DocuSign, they built this right in. So that's really nice. You can sign the documents they have, but you can also upload a document that you want signed. That's a nice little feature. Then you can ask any legal or tax question to get a quick answer online. Now, I haven't asked any tax questions personally, but I have used Rocket Lawyer for legal questions. They have been very helpful in certain situations. If I wanted something a bit more complex, commercial real estate, or anything that has to do with any, maybe litigation, I am going to get a lawyer. Okay. And I'm not saying these guys are not lawyers, but I'm going to get someone I can get on the phone with and maybe have back and forth. And I do have lawyers in different states. And I have an intellectual property lawyer, an IP lawyer, and a variety of lawyers. So that's really important in different countries too. So I use that a little. Partner offers, okay, they give you maybe some discounts. Then as you can see here, the difference is half off pricing. As you can see here, you get consult with the legal pro, maybe go over your documents if you have some more detailed questions. That's a really nice feature because listen, if you're drafting, which I'll go into the documents in just a second. If you're drafting a document, you have a little question, you can just jump on a call and boom, go over it and brings that confidence right out. It's really nice. And you can retain someone. Okay. So you can retain someone for 15 minutes. Okay. Again, these are lawyers going over legal situations. Not a bad rate. It's a little less, it's not a bad rate for the per hour rate. Okay. Rocket Tax. Now, I've never used Rocket Tax for this. Personally, I have a tax advisor, so I can't even speak to this. Business registration, we're going to talk about in just a second. You can register your business this way. So if you're using an LLC or an S Corp or maybe a nonprofit, you can do that, and it's a lot cheaper because they want you as a subscription-based client and a membership. So that's really good. This I had no idea about. I didn't know they do trademarks. This is actually fairly new. I've had a membership for years, but I didn't know this was an add-on. I know I definitely don't get their marketing emails, but they protect, they have this new feature, which I think is kind of new. I could be wrong, but I've never used them for that before. And also a registered agent. This is important when you're registering your business. You need someone to accept your legal documents. This can be anywhere between $50 to $150 per year. Different companies provide that for different prices. So that's that. Let me just jump. That's just the breakdown. Let's just go into the documents real quick. We talked about different ones. It could be personal, like let's say your last will and testament. If you've never done a will before, you could do a living will. Let's just go a little bit more in personal, so that where, let's say personal finance, maybe you want to do a promissory note. All right, that's right there. You just tap it and fill it out. It's really, really nice and easy. I want to go into where it will show you, let's see, an IOU form. Sometimes, they used to show it right here, the preview. See here, they will show you what they'll have, like a question wizard. They don't just give you the document. You actually fill it out. Say, what's your name? What is the date? You fill it out and it says next, 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 next. So it's a really powerful thing. Then you're done. You can send it to the other person electronically by just adding their email, or you can PDF it and email it to them. Either way, the easiest way is to add their email, and the Rocket Lawyer will send them an email and they can e-sign it right online. That's the beauty about this process. So that's really cool. And then they do have the section where there's the Ask a Lawyer section, but they have a section where it goes to specifically the state, because when you create these documents, it's going to ask you what state are you organizing in, and that's really important. State specific documents. Okay. All right. Like we said earlier, you can sign documents. This is new. The taxes, I've never worked with them on taxes. The fact that they do start the business, which is a nice feature. However, I'm not going to give you the advice of what you should start and not start. You are going to need a registered agent service. Also, whether you should start an LLC or corporation, you should get with a lawyer. I will tell you this from my experience. I have LLCs and I have corporations, but anytime you're doing an operational business, an operating business where there's a lot of activity, you're going to want probably an S Corp or a C Corp, some corporation, okay, a corporation. When it comes to maybe an property, it could be a rental, maybe you're going to, not a lot of activity, you're going to want to probably do that in an LLC. But again, depending on your situation, what's going on, you're going to want some advice for that. In fact, they also have NDAs. Love this. Actually, that's probably the #1 document I use with Rocket Lawyer. Typically what I do is I just log in. I haven't checked their features in a long time. I log in, I draft the NDA, then I email it to the person or I PDF it, and boom, they got it, right? That's a breeze. That's really cool. So then again, they have the Ask the Lawyer. This is great if you have starting business questions, maybe for landlords, maybe you have some taxes, marriage, divorce, real estate planning. I'll tell you what, I've seen a lot of other service providers out there for these kinds of things, and Rocket Lawyer really does it decently well. Like for documents, don't go out there and pay like, oh, I just need one document one time. It's $10 or $20. I just need it once. Not really. If you're going to get into business, using a service like this, and with their new pricing plan, which is really nice, basically $239 a year, which is really nice, you can get all these benefits, right? Rocket Legal Plus, and it's worth every dollar and penny that they offer. It really is. I've been a member for many years. Next I want to show you is LegalZoom. Now, again, this is not that far. I've used LegalZoom before in the past. I don't use them so much anymore, but it's kind of like a DIY if you want to do it yourself. And because I've paid lawyers to set up companies. I paid lawyers $1,000, $2,000 for legal work, specific intricacies to get things done. But these days with technology and these service providers getting better at these things, you can sometimes get started with $0 to get started, right? Not talking about the state fees, but some of these service providers will let you set up a company, an LLC, S Corp, C Corp, sole proprietorship, which sole proprietorship you probably never want to do, by the way. And then a bunch of other things like registered agent services. Let's just jump into that real quick. See their pricing. The other one, Rocket Lawyer, was $129. This one is $249 a year. So a little bit different. But another thing too, they will get your documents, scan them, and send them to you. And in another video, I share this about, mail receivership. Like, so a company that will receive your mail for you and scan it. This is not that. I just want to make that clear. This is only for, as a registered agent, any legal documents or if you're being served documents, this is what that's for. Okay. So just want to be clear on that. All right. So let's continue. They also have a personal side, whether it's power of attorney, divorce, residential leases, they got it all. Then they have business attorneys. One thing I like about them is they break down, I've spoken to probably 2 or 3 other attorneys over the years, business attorneys, trademark attorneys, and whatnot. Then they have the forms. This is a little new for them, by the way. This is probably like them competing with Rocket Lawyer, okay? So they have the document assistant. I've never even seen this, by the way. Legal form templates and e-signature. So this whole column is new for LegalZoom in the most recent years, probably because of the competition from Rocket Lawyer. So I've never used this, but as you can see, you can easily, upload your legal document. They'll summarize it with their new AI software, and you could probably get it done and signed right on their software. Again, I've never used that before, but legal form templates, they have them. As you can see here, like I mentioned, look here. You can either pay $59 per document or $100 a year for unlimited documents, which again, if you go for Rocket Lawyer or LegalZoom, it's great. I mean, that's a bunch. So they even have letters. That looks fairly new from what I know. Appraisal letters. This is very new. I've never seen this. Employee termination letter. Look at this right here. Boom. There's your letter. Stamp it. Read and accept it. Create the document. Boom. It's done. It's fantastic. I'm so glad they've added this. This is resignation letter, landlord welcome letter. That's interesting. Never saw this before. Yeah. So imagine if you wanted to do these. This is really good. You don't have to go very far, $99 a year. But again, Rocket Lawyer also has this. This is a new feature for LegalZoom. Have I used them before LegalZoom? Yes. I've set up a few entities through them. I set up a nonprofit through them, and very easy to do. I haven't used entity creation with Rocket Lawyer before. I want to make that clear. Now listen, by the way, I'm not saying get both of them. I'm not. Pick one that you like. Maybe you're looking at one because it looks like they're almost similar these days. They're looking, very, very similar in the process. I do like my experience with LegalZoom for setting up an entity was a breeze. I'll tell you that. That was really, really cool. That was a breeze. I've used other companies before, and I've also used lawyers before and paid a lot more money. But again, just be mindful that when you're setting up your own entity, you're going to want to speak to a business attorney to make sure things are set up well in the specific state that you have. If you want to jump on a consultation call, you could do that. You see how they have plans. Now notice the difference. Rocket Lawyer includes this in their plan. LegalZoom separates this, okay? Because LegalZoom is more about setting up entities. That's how really they started. And then if you're going to add in a lawyer, then here you go. It's the difference, paying per month and whatnot. So it's a little bit different structured, but it's become so much better. Let me tell you. All right. Lastly, I'm going to share with you is another provider that I've used and I've shared with my clients over the years, and that's called Anderson Advisors. Anderson Advisors, I'm going to say, is a little bit deeper, okay, than you're not like the other guys, okay? Not DIY. This is where you're hiring lawyers, getting on the phone with lawyers to set up that process, estate plans. I don't recommend using the other service providers for estate planning or tax planning, retirement planning, anything with LTs, living trusts. So that kind of stuff is a little bit more detailed. If you're growing your portfolio, you're probably going to want to use a service provider like Anderson. And of course, there's many others. I'm just giving you one that I've personally used and I've referred a lot of my clients to. I'll give you one example that I really like about them. One, you get a free strategy session. But I want to just talk to you about their platinum offering, which is a really great entry point to this kind of service provision. Because normally what happens with this kind of entity structuring and working with lawyers they're going to bill you by the hour, and you get this large bill, and you're like, okay, maybe this is the most expensive professional service I've ever paid for. So that's typically what happens. What I like about Anderson is they came up with their platinum membership, which is $3,500 a year and then $75 a month. This gives you access to their Anderson system, which is a mixture. It's like a membership site, okay? And this is where they're going to not only teach you, but they're also going to give you like documents and a database, and it's really great. It's their whole system and core is based on their legal structure and philosophy, and you can learn about them on their YouTube channel. They're very, very helpful. I'll jump on that just a second. Unlimited attorney strategy sessions. Listen, that alone speaks volumes, okay? That alone speaks volumes. Unlimited attorney strategy sessions could be anywhere between 15-30 minutes, but it's unlimited, okay? Yeah, unlimited questions from our tax team, okay? So it could be, maybe not your direct lawyer, maybe structuring and whatnot. There you go. Access to weekly open office hours. This is a nice feature. Jump on, the conferencing, Zoom, and go over that. Tax Q&A database. If you want to just jump in and search yourself, you can do that. Like I mentioned earlier, the access to the video training library, legal forms library, extensive product workshop discounts. They do have workshops that you can go to, and set up a tax haven to reduce. Okay, so let me go over this a little bit deeper, because the Anderson system is a little bit different. It's very specific. Again, this is if you are probably already doing some business. Maybe you've made over $100,000. This could be a goal. If you're just getting started, I don't recommend them in the beginning, but maybe your first goal is $100,000 or $200,000. And then you can say, okay, I'm ready for Anderson, right? I'm ready to step up. Or it could be someone else, but I'm just giving you an example here. I'm ready to step up and look at my entity structuring, look at my tax structure. What do I need to do for the future, planning for my retirement? And you're already past, the beginning stages of your business. The cool thing is, with their package is no more hourly charges, okay? When you need to speak with an attorney, you just book a call as a platinum member, okay? So that's really a very powerful feature. You won't find this in too many other service providers, but it's a really great feature, an offering that they have. Now, lastly, because I mentioned it earlier, is they do have a YouTube channel, and here currently it goes to Clint Coons. There is a few other attorneys that are creating content from their organization. I've known Clint for many years through the real estate space, but a lot of his stuff is gonna be focused on real estate information. Let me just jump in here real quick with, oops. Okay, hold on. Okay, when you jump into Anderson Advisors, you're also gonna see Toby. So Toby, I think maybe in the past, maybe a few years, has been creating content as well. And he's going to cover a little bit more other things like stock investing, that may be a little bit more, talk about taxes a little bit deeper. So also, Toby is also from the same organization, and there is also a podcast that they do, and that also you can listen to from the Anderson Advisors group. So those are the recommendations that I have. I highly recommend you check them out, those 3 different companies. But listen, if you have any further questions, just throw it in the comments and I'll get back to you. Hope this video is helpful to you. See you in the next one.